A student sends a polished essay to a teacher. The spelling is clean. The argument is confident. Every paragraph arrives in the right place. One thing is missing. The finished page no longer proves who did the thinking. The missing trail reveals how New Zealand's system works. New Zealand sets a national line for authentic assessment, but schools and teachers turn that line into local rules for each task. Assessment works only when those rules make a student's knowledge and choices visible, not merely when they produce an impressive answer. In July 2026, the Education Review Office reported that 38% of secondary students surveyed said they had used generative artificial intelligence for schoolwork in ways they should not. 19% said they had used it for an assessment. Only 5% said they had been caught. Those figures came from a voluntary survey, not an audit of every student in the country. They describe what participants reported, and the meaning of misuse can become less clear when classroom rules differ. The same research found wide use among principals, teachers, and students. Many said the tools made work easier. More than half of teachers, however, thought the technology was harming pupils' critical thinking. That last result measured teachers' perceptions, not a direct test of children's thinking. Use had moved faster than policy. 93% of school leaders had used artificial intelligence, so had 88% of primary teachers and 82% of secondary teachers. Only 28% of leaders reported a policy for teachers' classroom use. 31% reported rules for student learning. Assessment rules were much more common in secondary schools, but 73% of all teachers had not engaged with the national guidance. So the problem is larger than catching a copied paragraph. New Zealand has to decide what evidence of learning should look like when a machine can produce the visible result in seconds. For a long time, the finished product carried two messages at once. An essay showed what a student wrote. It was also treated as a window into what the student understood. A science report seemed to reveal research and reasoning. A history answer seemed to reveal how evidence had been weighed. A piece of computer code seemed to reveal how a problem had been divided into steps. Generative artificial intelligence can separate those two messages. The product may look strong while the process behind it is unknown. Imagine a beautiful cake placed on a judging table. Its shape can be examined. Its flavor can be tested. But the cake alone cannot show who measured the flour, corrected the temperature, or learned why the first attempt collapsed. School assessment has the same hidden question. Is the task judging the final cake, or the student's ability to make it again? New Zealand's qualification rules already begin with that distinction. Schools that assess listed standards must have an authenticity policy. That policy must explain acceptable use of generative artificial intelligence. Valid assessment evidence has to be the student's own work. If a tool produces evidence that is then presented as the student's knowledge or skill, the evidence is not valid. Generative artificial intelligence is not permitted in external assessments for the National Certificate of Educational Achievement. Internal assessment is more varied. The exact rule depends on what a standard is trying to measure and on the conditions set for the task. Using a tool to generate an entire answer may destroy the evidence. Using one to test an idea, organize notes, or improve a sentence may be allowed in a different learning activity. The important words are if, when, and how. Before work begins, a task should make clear if a tool may be used, at which stage it may be used, and what kind of help is acceptable. If artificial intelligence contributes to permitted work, that contribution should be acknowledged under the school's rules. Clear boundaries do more than punish dishonesty, they stop an honest student from crossing an invisible line. The figure of 5% caught may tempt schools into a technical race. Buy a detector, scan every answer, wait for a warning light. That is a weak foundation. Artificial intelligence detectors are not the most reliable way to establish authenticity. A probability score cannot carry an authenticity decision by itself. It cannot replace evidence, a fair explanation, and a reasonable process. Writing can change because a student learned a new form, received ordinary feedback, used a translation tool, or simply had a very good day. The better answer is not perfect detection after the work is finished. It is assessment that leaves a visible trail while learning happens. A teacher can use short, low-stakes checks to see what a student understands before the major task. The class can pause at planned milestones. A student can explain why one source was trusted and another rejected. Drafts, process notes, or a record of prompts can show how an idea changed. A short conversation can test whether the student can use the same knowledge in a new situation. None of these methods is magical on its own. Together they make it harder for a finished product to float free from the person whose name is on it. This change can improve assessment even when nobody cheats. A personal reflection can show how a student connects knowledge to experience. A local case can require decisions that a general answer cannot supply. An oral explanation can reveal uncertainty, correction, and real understanding. Those are not small decorations around an essay. They are evidence of thought. The strongest tasks also keep the human relationship in the center. A teacher who knows a student's earlier work can see growth over time. A student who expects to discuss a decision has a reason to understand it, not only to submit it. That matters because schools should not turn every useful tool into forbidden machinery. Artificial intelligence can help a teacher prepare material, adapt an explanation, or explore examples. It can help students question an idea and practice a skill. It can also invent facts, reproduce cultural bias, and expose personal information placed into a prompt. A practical school policy therefore needs more than one word marked, allowed, or banned. It needs rules for learning, assessment, privacy, checking, and responsibility. Families can make those rules easier to see. Before a major assignment, ask what knowledge or skill is actually being assessed. Ask which uses of artificial intelligence are permitted. Ask what record of the student's process should be kept. Then the conversation at home changes. Instead of asking, "Did a machine touch this work?" people can ask a better question. Can the student explain the choices, use the knowledge again, and show how the answer came to exist? A machine can hand in a final page. Learning is the trail of decisions that a student can still walk back through.